You have just seen a phase of the low-level attack on Eindhoven. Low-level attacks depend on preparation and precision. Straight in, bombs gone, straight out. No time lost searching for the target. You don't just barge off and find your way by luck and blind faith. For all such attacks, bomber or fighter, precise navigation is essential. A low-level flight must be planned carefully. Time spent on the ground means valuable time saved in the air, when you want to concentrate on keeping out of trouble. For this film, we are choosing an objective in England. The people on the other side wouldn't cooperate. Base, target. Here's a good point to set course from. And here, another good landmark at which to cross the other coast, bearing in mind the defences. Although off the direct line to the target, these prominent landmarks will enable us to check our position easily and quickly. A longer way around with good pinpoints may often prove better than a direct route with vague ones. Get an accurate met wind for the route. Having decided what airspeed you will fly, fill in the rest of your flight plan. Measure your tracks, and using a computer, work out your courses and ground speeds. And calculate your ETAs for each leg, and so on until you have the completed plan. On the map, mark in 10-degree lines to enable you to check drift. Then put in a time scale at your calculated ground speed at 5-minute intervals. 5, 10, and so on. Before we go further, let's consider the question of low-level map reading, because it's quite a different proposition from map reading at a height. Look at this piece of country. On the right, there is a small town. In the distance, there is a large wood which could obviously be identified on the map by its size and shape. Now see what the same piece of country looks like flying low. Owing to our smaller field of view, there's no sign of the small town. Towns are only useful if you pass very close to them. Ahead is a wood, but whether it's the big one we saw before, we can't say with certainty. But low-level map reading introduces its own landmarks. From this height, contours mean very little. But at low level, every hillock and dale comes to life and can be compared with the map in detail. Even a small isolated hill like this one. Solitary lakes are good too, provided you pass near them. Railways can be checked by the direction in which they run. Cultivate a mental compass rose to assist you in checking such directions. Other useful landmarks are church spires, power lines, wireless masts, and chimneys of isolated works. Now let's examine our intended track, picking out the salient pinpoints so as to build up a mental picture of the flight. Map reading doesn't concern us much until we cross the far coast. Then the first good landmark is this hill on track, marked as a spot height 419 feet. Next we have this river flowing in a shallow valley parallel to track, and there's a railway at its northern end. Then there is this railway junction running down in a valley to the west. We shouldn't miss that. Now we should see either this town or the main line railway to the west of it, and notice that there is a single track railway joining the two. Finally we come over a hill, shown by the close contour line sloping down to the objective, which is in this large town. When flying, try to keep this picture in your mind. Let's just run over the points again. Point to reach enemy coast, hill, river, Railway junction, town, objective. Now we're all set to go. As soon as we are airborne, synchronize the directional gyro with the compass. Red on red. Then set the first course for the first leg across the sea on the compass, 013 degrees. Here's the headland which marks our starting point. Turn to set course accurately over it. On to 013. Time 12:12. Now we can fill in ETA for the next coast. 23.5 minutes. So the ETA will be 12:35.5. For the time being, all we have to do is to maintain course. And keep a constant airspeed . 160 miles per hour. There's the next coast, and there on the left is the end of cliff which marks our turning point. As it's likely to port, we alter course by sight to reach it. Mustn't forget to check the gyro as often as possible. Now we set the course for our second leg on the compass, 349 degrees. Turn to set course accurately over the rocks, on to 349. Time 12:36. Fill in the ETA for our objective.